Hey people, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Also, welcome to my first video for 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope your Christmas, New Year's, and everything in between was absolutely fantastic. I hope you managed to get some time off work, recharge, refresh, ready to get straight back into it with a brand new year and some all new, brand new lined up videos for you. So, as the video suggests, I thought the best way to open the new year would be a video about the greatest band in the world, Iron Maiden, obviously. And today we're going to go through each studio album, I should add, studio album, and talk about my most favorite song as well as my least favorite song off every album, all the way from Iron Maiden from 1980 up to Senjutsu from 2021. So I haven't done much research about this. The only one I could immediately think of is the debut album, because that's my ultimate favorite album of all time. So that one's pretty easy, but the rest of them, Killers, Number of the Beast and all that jazz, I haven't really given it much thought. So I'm just going to pick the album up, quickly scan the tracks and argue with myself about which song is better and which song is the worst. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into it with indeed the debut, Iron Maiden from 1980. Like I just mentioned before, this one to me is top tier Iron Maiden. This is my number one ranked album of all time, the band and life in general. I can easily say that without really thinking too hard about it, my favorite song, the best song on this album, is Phantom of the Opera. That song is 7 minutes long. When I first heard it, it absolutely changed my world. I'm pretty sure I grew chest hair after that, my voice dropped, and everything just happened to me all at once after hearing that 7-minute epic. Just everything about it, from the little guitar figure at the start all the way up to that bass solo section, right to the vocal, the a cappella vocal right at the end. I think it's just an amazing song. However, the weakest one on this album for me is probably the title track, Iron Maiden. Despite how iconic it is and the fact that they play it at every show still today, I just, compared to the rest of it, I just generally think that it's one of the weaker ones on here. Songs like, you know, even Running Free, which is probably the most basic song on here, I would much rather listen to that than the title track, Iron Maiden. But like I say, it has its place. Obviously, you have to appreciate the history behind it. But yeah, for me, it's Paul does it better, I think, just because of the way Bruce sings it these days. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic album. Every song on here is great. But yeah, in my opinion, the weak song from this one is Iron Maiden. Moving on to album 2, you get Killers, released from 1981. Now this one's fun. I'm kind of going through listening to the discography again, slowly, just bit by bit. I'm slowly moving each album in and out of the car. And because I haven't been at work through the Christmas break, I've only listened to the first 2. So I've got Number of the Beast to do next. But it's fun to just go back and listen to what we know and love. Right, back into it. My favorite song from Killers, I think it's either the title track, Killers, or Murders in the Rue Morgue. That honestly, that song I think is just great. But if I had to eliminate one, if I had to get rid of one, I'd probably get rid of Murders, I think. I think Killers is a fantastic song. I just think it's so fun. It's like one of the more upbeat, or is it the most upbeat song on the album? Maybe, I don't know. But I think it's just so good. I think it's a fantastic song, and definitely deserves, as simple as it is, definitely deserves the title track spot. My least favorite song on here is probably one of the last two, probably either Purgatory or Drifter, because those two are just like, they are filler songs. Like those two, they're pretty much interchangeable. But then weirdly enough, Another Life is a bit dumb as well. So, but Another Life has the cool drums intro, so I think we'll go with Drifter. I think Drifter's the song we'll get rid of. Yeah, that's my least favorite one. Even like The Ides of March is great, Wrath Child's awesome, Innocent Exile I think is even great as well. So yeah, I think so. We got Killers is the best and Drifter is the worst of the Killers album. Album 3, obviously, Number of the Beast from 1982. What a cult classic album. Do I need to talk about this one? Not really. I think we can all agree on the same best song of this album if we're all fans, right? Obviously, the best song of this album is indeed Hallowed Be Thy Name. Up until that point, that was pretty much the first Iron Maiden epic, you know, before they really started to get before the 21st century epics started to turn up. Hallowed Be Thy Name was easily the first real Iron Maiden epic. So that one's obviously the favorite. The least favorite on here is, again, surely all of our least favorites, right? Fucking Gangland. It's the worst song on the album. The B-side of Gangland, Total Eclipse, which is on the remastered CD I've got, Even that one's bad too. But the fact that Gangland's on here and not Total Eclipse means we've got to go for Gangland. It's just, I feel like it's really out of place, and it feels like it's just thrown together. Do you know what I mean? That weird chaotic, like, it's a weird chaotic drum intro. It sounds kind of cool, but it's just a dumb song. I really don't like it compared to the rest of it. I mean, Invaders, Children, Prisoner, Acacia Avenue, Hello, What a Side. Number of the Beast, Hills, fucking Gangland, and then Hallowed to finish it. It's just a real stick out song where it's just like, what the heck is this? So yeah, Hallowed the best, Gangland the worst, off Number of the Beast. Realize this is actually going to take a lot longer than I thought, so I'll try and be a bit quicker. Peace of Mind, 1983. Happy 40 years last year, now that it's 24. Best song on here. I'd probably say Where Eagles Dare. I think the opening song of Peace of Mind is absolutely fantastic. Again, those drums, Nico McBrain is turned up now, just fantastic. The vinyl's coming out. The least favorite song on here. Do you really want to know? Do you really want to know? I won't lie to you. To be honest, it's Die With Your Boots On. Yeah, I don't like that song. I've never liked that song. Probably because I heard the live rendition of Live After Death on the second disc first, really, I think. And I just never liked it live, especially off that performance. So I was never keen on the studio version of it either. If you're gonna die, bang, die with your boots on, if you're gonna die. It's just like, oh, give it a rest. Everything else on here is fantastic. Quest for Fire is a fantastic song. I don't care what you say. Silent Steel, Tame a Land, they're all fantastic songs. But yeah, honestly, that stupid Die With Your Boots, it can just, nah, I'm done. So yeah, Where Eagles Dare, Die With Your Boots. All right, this one's going to be a tough one because this is literally an 8 out of 8 album. Obviously, Power Slave from 1984. 40 years this year. That's absolutely ridiculous. The best song on here is probably like the epic, the Maiden epic, and that is Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Obviously, that one just blows out everything. Even Aces High in 2 minutes. They're all great, don't get me wrong, but Mariner, just come on. Nothing beats Mariner. It's top 5 Maiden altogether. The least favorite on here, I think might be, it's either Flash of the Blade or Back in the Village. Back in the Village, I'm back in the Village, I'm back in the Village. Again, Flash of the Blade. I don't know. Flash of the Blade has a fun chorus. But then Back in the Village also. Which one, how does the Back in the Village chorus go? And so we walk into the valley. Yeah, let's get rid of... Yeah, we'll get rid of Back in the Village, I think. It's just, like I said, it's still a really, really good song, but if I had to get rid of one off this album, yeah, we'll go for Back in the Village. The title track's amazing. Aces High, Minutes to Midnight, even the instrumental, Lost for Words, I'd really, really love. So, yeah, best song, Mariner. Worst song, Back in the Village. Album 6. Somewhere in Time, 1986. We've jumped a year now. 1985 was obviously Live After Death, so now we've gone into 1986 with Somewhere in Time. Absolutely phenomenal album, might I add. Best song on here is, again, you're gonna see this is gonna be a trend with me. Best song on here is the closer, the epic, Alexander the Great. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. But don't get me wrong, you know, it's obviously the album closer, so it's really epic, and I'm so excited to see that song live this year now, finally. But everything else, Caught Somewhere in Time, Wasted, Madness, Heaven, you know, they're all good songs. Even Loneliness, Stranger Than Strange, Deja Vu, it's literally 8 out of 8. But we have to get rid of one. So I'm genuinely going to choose Sea of Madness. I'm never really gelled with that song either. I think it might be the chorus. The chorus and the verses, I just don't like it. I think it sounds a bit messy. It's just a bit all over the place. I don't want to say sloppy, but it's just messy in the recording, I think, and I'm just not my favorite. So yeah, that probably is the most skipped song on this album. So yeah, best song, Alexander. Worst song, Sea of Madness. All right, now we're having fun. 1988's Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. This one's not my favorite album at all. So the fact that I have to choose a best one is probably actually not that hard now that I've got the title tracks. Can you guess, given what I've been saying lately? The best song on this one is obviously the title track, Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. There are some hidden gems on here, but there are some stuff that we obviously never need to hear again. Anyone who knows me, if you've watched my tier ranking of every Iron Maiden song, you'll know that I put this worst song in its own category because it's the worst song they've ever written. Can I Play With Madness? I got the Somewhere Back in Time compilation back when I was like 15, 16, I think, 2008, 2009-ish. And when I heard that song, I was just, no, absolutely not. I was I was a very early Maiden fan at that time, so I was very familiar with the early stuff, and the fact that they were doing all the synthy stuff, I just was not a fan. So Can I Play With Madness, to this day, nearly 15 years later, is still, in my opinion, one of the worst songs that Iron Maiden have ever done. I did a video where I got drunk and roasted the video and roasted the song. Go watch that. I haven't seen that for a while. It's quite fun. But there are some other good ones on here. Only Good Die Young's cool. Clairvoyance is pretty fun. Evil That Men Do is Trooper Tuapono, but it's great. You know, Infinite Dreams, yeah, we all love it. We all know it. So yeah, best song on here, title track, worst song in my opinion, Can I Play With Madness? I'm serious, I will stand by that. Right, here we go. Now we're getting out of classic Maiden. We enter the 90s. Album 8, No Prayer for the Dying. Best song on here. This is interesting. Best song on here, Bring Your Daughter? No, absolutely not. Is it Holy Smoke? I think it might be Holy Smoke. It's just, which is weird because normally, probably because there's no epic on this album, you know what I mean? So this is a very back to root kind of early-ish vibe for the band. So I quite like this album now. I didn't at first. I ranked this one at the bottom for a very long time, but if I were to re-rank all the albums again, this one would probably go up 5 spots maybe. But yeah, Holy Smoke, best song. Worst song on here? I don't know. It's not Bring Your Daughter. It's not the worst song. It might be The Assassin. But again, that's quite fun too. Better watch out. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, a bit naff. So yeah, I think I'll happily get rid of The Assassin. So yeah, best song, Holy Smoke. Worst song, The Assassin. Album 9, Fear of the Dark, 1992. Just moving on just straight into it. Best song on here, I think, is indeed the title track, even though I'm starting to get a bit bored of it because of how overplayed the title track is becoming. But it's the epic of the album, and it saves the, well, I mean, I was gonna say it saves the album, but at the same time, it hasn't saved it, because to me, this is still bottom tier Iron Maiden, do you know what I mean? There are some other good ones though, like Be Quick or Be Dead, For Here to Eternity, and Afraid to Shoot Strangers. Side A is very, very strong. Side B, what's the worst song on here? Probably something like Weekend Warrior. Like, I can't actually remember how that goes right now. Which is, fake fan, I know, it's disgusting. But like, everything else is kind of okay. The Fugitive is a bit heavy. The Fugitive is probably the heaviest song on here. Chains of Misery is a real stadium rock kind of vibe. The Apparition is okay, but yeah, I think it might be Weekend Warrior. It's just a stupid song from what I remember. So yeah, easily. Best song on here, Fear of the Dark. Worst song, Weekend Warrior. I love these next two albums. X Factor, 1995. Blaze Bayley, Matewa, Bruce Dickinson. So, best song on here, obviously, I don't need to say it, Sign of the Cross. Absolutely fantastic song. And then the worst song is either, believe it or not, it's either 2 AM or Man on the Edge. I just hear that Man on the Edge intro and I just think, boring, wow, 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 wow. And then it picks up, and it's a song based off a movie, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen the movie, but lyrics are a bit silly. They don't really fit the Maiden vibe, especially the vibe of this album. And then 2 AM is it's a slower, darker one, but again, it's a bit silly. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the single, Man on the Edge. I'm really not a fan of that song. Everything else on here though, I think is absolutely fine in terms of Maiden's catalogue. It's a good album. If you haven't actually really, that's just my speaker, if you haven't really listened to it, please go listen to the X Factor. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's really long, but God is it good. It's like 77 minutes of just 90s Maiden. They sound good. It's a good album. Fuck you. Virtual 11. 1998, Blaze Bayley yet again. Best song on here, I don't even need to say it, Clansman. Absolutely fantastic song. 9 minutes of pure Scottish braveheartness. It's obviously the film, it's obviously the song based on the film that came out, I think 3 years ago. Did that film come out? No. Did that film come out in 95? I'm pretty sure. Worst song on here, easily. It's either Como Estas Amigos, which is freaking dumb, but then also Don't Look to the Eyes of the Stranger is really dumb too. But that one's got a bit more musical thought about it, so I'm gonna get rid of Como Estas Amigos. That's a really, really dumb song. It's probably one of the dumbest Maiden. That's up there with Madness in terms of dumb songs. Everything else on here, apart from Don't Look to the Eyes and The Gambler as well, The Angel and the Gambler, who needs to be 9 minutes of the same stuff? But other than that, Future Real, Lightning Strikes, Worlds Collide, Educated Fool, they're good songs. It's a bit more upbeat than the X Factor, and it's a bit more bright. But yeah, there are some big misses on this one too. But yeah, anyway, best song, Klansman. Worst song, Como Estas Amigos. Right, we enter the 21st century. Brave New World. I'm annoyed that I don't have this one on vinyl yet. It's the last one that I need. Best song on here. I think I do. I like a lot of this stuff. So I think for me to argue that my favorite song, I think it's Blood Brothers. That song's very moving. It's very powerful. I nearly cried when I saw that live. It was just absolutely beautiful. But there are a lot of good stuff on here. Wicker Man, Ghost, Mercenary, Dream of Mirrors. It's all really, really good. And weirdly enough, this might annoy you, but the one that I'm actually going to get rid of is, again, like Iron Maiden, the title track. I've never really bonded with Brave New World. I heard that live for the first time on the Death on the Road gig that they did, and I just did not like how the verse was the intro melody, but the way Bruce shouted it, he was so high about it, it was just like, it's just like, oh, shut up. So yeah, this is a very powerful album. It's very good. But yeah, Brave New World, the song's not my favorite. So yeah, Blood Brothers the best, Brave New World the worst. 2003, Dance of Death, fantastic album. Just putting it out there, really orchestra heavy, I feel. I think it's really, really fun. My favorite song on here is either Dance of Death, the title track, or Passchendaele. Passchendaele is actually so good. And I heard Passchendaele come on my shuffle the other day for like the first time in a long time, and I was like, wow, just really hits how heavy and brooding that song is. You know, obviously First World War, Passchendaele stuff, really, really dark. Musically amazing, but yeah, Dance of Death or Passchendaele, which one's better? Well, I'm gonna choose Dance of Death as my favorite because when I first heard that, I just thought that was one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard. The beautiful acoustic intro with the little Irishy figure thing, I thought it was great. Worst song on here, I think might be, for me, No More Lies. Can you tell? It's pretty much Brave New World again. It's just a really repetitive chorus, and I don't want to say unimaginative, but it's just a bit lacking in Maiden oomph. It's got a fun little da 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 da, but even that's like the same note like 8 times with a little bit of a groove into it. So it's just a bit yeah. So yeah, Dance of Death, best song. Least favorite song, No More Lies. A Matter of Life and Death, 2006. Again, absolutely fantastic album. If you haven't heard this 21st Century Maiden stuff, I highly recommend you go listen to it. Best song on here for me is easily For the Greater Good of God. It's the one of the epics. It's the longest epic. It's 9 minutes 24 seconds. Sorry. Fantastic song. Worst song on here, I think for me is either. Oh no, not either. I think it's yeah. Oh, I think it's Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Again, I never have been because I just haven't bonded. I just never gelled with it. It's just probably, again, because of how Bruce sings it, brighter than a thousand suns. I was like, oh, it's a bit drawn out, and it's not the longer, it's 8 minutes 44, so it's another really, really long one. It probably, when I first heard it, just didn't like that. But, you know, I actually haven't listened to this album in a while, so maybe I'll do this video again in a year and it might be different. But yeah, as of right now, at this place in time, the best song off here is For the Greater Good of God, and the worst song for me is Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. 2010, The Final Frontier. This was a fun album. This was the first new album that I was able to buy as a Maiden fan at that current time, and it was super exciting. So it was a bit of a letdown when I discovered that it's not the best Maiden album ever. It's not, oh, excuse me, I apologize. It's not terrible. It's better than the Book of Souls, but yeah, it's just, there are, again, a few misses on this one. The best song on here is, again, the album closer, When the Wild Wind Blows, just 11 minutes of Maiden being epic and beautiful as they are. Worst song on here, I think it's Starblind, if I'm honest. I listened to this album not too long ago. I've listened to it in the last 6 months, and I remember Starblind just being not exciting. Hey, you could say Satellite 15, but as a whole, obviously it's Satellite 15, The Final Frontier is one song, so you have to include it. That's not the worst song. The Final Frontier is actually a really fun song, I like it. But yeah, Starblind I think is not that good. Everything else on here is pretty okay. So the rest of the album holds up. But yeah, the worst song, Starblind. Yeah, When the Wild Wind Blows, great song. Starblind, not so great. Oh, nearly there, team. We're doing great. Book of Souls from 2015. Now, weirdly enough, my favorite on here is not the epic album closer, Empire of the Clouds, although you think it would be given everything I've been saying for the last 3 or 4 albums. My favorite one on here is The Red and the Black, which is pretty much Ancient Mariner 2.0. It's another 13.5-minute song, and I think it's just great. It's got that Mariner gallop, and just so many little melodies that get thrown into that song. I think it's beautiful. Worst song on here, I think, might be Death or Glory. Yeah, I think Death or Glory might be, because of that stupid climb like a monkey. I just think it's a bit dumb. That they played that live at the Book of Souls gig that I saw, and it was just, yeah, I was like, oh, why is this on the set list? So yeah, this was a big sort of miss as well. It's like, there's some really good stuff on here, but like, it's just, yeah, only like the epics are epic and the rest is just okay. So that's my opinion. But yeah, so best song on here, Red and the Black. Worst song, Death or Glory. And then the last album, Senjutsu 2021. All in all, a great 21st century Iron Maiden album. I think it's genuinely fantastic. The best song on here, now this is interesting because I don't have the title tracks and I don't have the tracks in front of me. There we go. You just have to open it up. The best song on here is now I was about to say the best song on here is probably Hell on Earth. However, I do really love the Parchment. The Parchment is so moving and it's very long, and I just love I love the vocals in it, I love the melodies, I love the way it ends. But Hell on Earth is very powerful too, so I'm gonna go for Hell on Earth as my favorite. The worst song on here? Might be the Days of Future Past, I think. Yeah, because like they're all pretty good though. Like Senjutsu's great, Stratego is fun, Writing on the Wall is classic. Lost in the Lost World is fun. That's a huge 10-minute song. The Days of Future Past is the shortest song, I'm pretty sure. It's the most, other than Stratego, it's sort of like the most singly type song. The Time Machine's fun. It's got a real typical Maiden riff in it. Dark Star is powerful. Death of the Celts, Parchment, Hell on Earth. That Harris trio is just fantastic. But yeah, so I'm gonna stick with that. Best song, Hell on Earth. Worst song, Days of Future Past, even though that's the name of the tour they're on. But still, it's a great album. Senjutsu, it's actually really fun. I ranked it album 7, I think, 7 or 8 out of all their albums. So I really appreciate it. So yeah, that's that one. Awesome ads team, we did it. That is my list of favorites and least favorites of every single Iron Maiden album. Let me know down below what your favorites are. Let me know why Brighter Than a Thousand Suns is actually the best song on the album. Let me know why Phantom of the Opera is the worst song they've ever done. Get the comments going, get the conversation flowing. We'll get back into the rut. We'll get back into the flow of making videos. It's just a bit hard with a screaming baby. Well, he's not really a screaming baby, but a very keen baby who likes to move around. So yeah, excuse my absence in case it goes a while without a video. But hey, keep an eye out for the next one. I'm halfway through ranking a band at the moment, so keep an eye out for that video whenever that turns up. But until that happens, everybody, thanks for hanging out with me while we sit here and discuss all our favorite Maiden songs. I love talking about Maiden. You know me, I am the Maiden guy. Like I said, let me know down below what your favorites are and we'll get the conversation flowing. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. See you later.